Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sort through all the noise to bring you really potent, actionable stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff.
Exactly. And today, we're plunging into this really fascinating story. It's about how a single, simple rule, really simple, turned a broke 19-year-old into a self-made millionaire by 25.
Mhm.
And here's the kicker. This wasn't, a lucky break, no family money. Just one tiny decision, but with this huge compounding impact.
Right.
So our mission today is to unpack the psychology behind it, the brain rewiring, and most importantly, how you can maybe use this same rule. Doesn't matter where you're starting from.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this.
It really is a compelling story, isn't it? Because it challenges, well, a lot of the usual ideas about how wealth is built.
Totally.
It shows that sometimes these massive shifts can come from things that seem almost, well, deceptively simple on the surface.
Right.
What's really interesting is how a straightforward concept like this taps into some pretty powerful underlying principles. Principles that reshape not just, your bank account, but your whole way of thinking.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's picture Daniel at 19. He's in Florida, working at a gas station, making maybe $300 a week.
Not a lot to work with.
No, exactly. Zero savings, a bit of debt creeping up. By any standard, broke.
Mm-hmm.
But then, one night, something clicks. He's listening to a podcast, and the guest is Naval Ravikant, the investor thinker.
Oh, yeah, Naval, always insightful.
Totally. And Naval says something that just, bam, hits Daniel like a lightning bolt. The quote was, "The way you treat a single dollar, the way you'll treat a million."
Wow. Simple but deep.
Right. And right there, Daniel decides. He commits to what he starts calling the $1 rule.
That Naval quote, it's incredibly profound, and I think it's because it hits on a core truth about us, about human behavior.
Yeah.
What's really insightful is how this tiny observation, how you handle just one single dollar, can actually predict these much bigger patterns in your financial life.
Huh. Like a forecast.
Sort of, yeah. It really backs up the idea that habits, even the ones that seem totally insignificant, they're not just actions. They're like powerful signs of your underlying mindset, and they really do form the foundation for what happens later.
Okay, so what is this $1 rule then? It sounds almost, too easy.
It does, doesn't it?
He basically said, before I spend a single dollar, I invest $1 first. That's it.
That's the rule.
And he applied this relentlessly. Every paycheck, didn't matter how small.
Oh.
If you earned $50, the first dollar went into a separate investment account.
Wow. Even if it was just 50.
Yeah. Even if he was down to his last $5, $1 still went to investing first. He was consciously training his brain, drilling in this one message. Invest before you consume. Build before you spend.
And this gets to a really key question, right? Why is this specific act, moving $1, why is it so effective? Because like you said, the amount itself, initially, it's tiny.
Negligible, yeah.
Exactly. The power isn't in the dollar amount. It's in the mental shift it forces. It comes down to prioritization.
Prioritization, okay.
Yeah, it's that deliberate, consistent act. It's signaling to yourself over and over, my financial future, my growth, that comes first, before anything else gets spent. It's like you're fundamentally rewiring your default financial setting.
That makes a lot of sense just from a habit point of view. But,
Right.
Okay, here's where I think it gets really interesting for this deep dive. Why did this work so powerfully? Beyond just saving a bit more, how did it turn him into a millionaire? There's got to be some deeper psychology, maybe neuroscience stuff going on.
Oh, definitely. There are really two key mechanisms that explain Daniel's, well, pretty remarkable transformation.
Okay, lay on us.
So the first one is identity shaping. By sticking to that $1 rule, day in, day out, Daniel started to fundamentally change how he saw himself.
How so?
He began to see himself not just as a spender or someone just getting by, but as an investor, as a builder.
Yeah.
Think about James Clear in Atomic Habits.
Great book.
Yeah, fantastic. His insight is every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
Right. Voting with your dollars, literally.
Exactly. Saving that $1 wasn't really about the money itself. It was about casting that vote.
Yeah.
Sending this powerful, consistent message to his own brain. I'm someone who prioritizes growth. I am an investor. And investors build. It's identity-based. He wasn't just doing something. He was actively becoming someone different.
That's a really powerful frame, voting for your future self. But, I can imagine someone listening, maybe they're feeling really squeezed, lots of debt, low income.
Yeah.
How do they connect that idea, that vote, with the reality of finding even that first dollar? Does the psych shift still work when things are really tight?
That's a fair question. And yes, I'd argue it absolutely does, because the power, remember, isn't in the size of the vote, it's in the act of voting itself.
Hmm.
Even that single dollar, especially for someone struggling, it's actually a profound statement. It's an act of saying, I still have agency here. I am choosing this.
Good.
And that ties into the second mechanism, dopamine rewiring.
Dopamine, the reward chemical.
Precisely. Our brains are usually wired for immediate gratification, right? We get those little dopamine hits from spending, buying stuff, eating good food, new gadgets.
Guilty.
We all are. But Daniel, he consciously, strategically started to rewire those circuits. He trained his brain to get that same reward feeling, that dopamine hit, from discipline, from progress.
So saving felt good.
Exactly. Every dollar he saved, even just one, became this tiny little win, a hit of progress. It consciously lit up his brain's reward pathways. And this consistent positive feedback, even for a tiny amount, it made the discipline itself start to feel, well, addictive, but in a good way.
Addicted to progress.
Addicted to building, not consuming. It's
Yeah.
basically neuroplasticity in action. He changed his brain's reward system.
Okay, so we've got identity shaping, becoming an investor, and dopamine rewiring, getting hooked on progress. That explains the mindset shift. But how did that translate into, actual dollars and cents? What does his journey look like over those 6 years?
Well, the effects really started to cascade. By the time he was, 21, he'd saved and invested over $5,000, which is good, but not life-changing on its own.
Right, not millionaire territory yet.
Not yet. But more importantly, that discipline, the habit ingrained by the $1 rule, it started to bleed into everything else.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't just saving passively, he felt driven to create, because he now saw himself as a builder, right?
Right, the identity shift.
So he builds a freelance side hustle teaching video editing. He starts buying books, investing in knowledge instead of grabbing fast food. He actively seeks out online entrepreneur groups, all the while living on less, investing more in himself, in his future.
Makes sense.
And then by 23, fueled by that builder identity, he launches his own agency helping YouTubers grow. A real entrepreneurial leap.
And the result of all that.
The big outcome. By age 25, his net worth crosses $1.1 million.
Wow.
But here's the crucial point. He didn't get there just from the amount he saved with the $1 rule. That was the seed, the training ground. The real power was that the discipline itself trained his mind. It taught him to delay gratification, see opportunities differently, take smarter risks, and just relentlessly build value instead of consuming it.
So the habit built the mindset, and the mindset built the million.
You got it. It shows how these foundational habits, these consistent little actions, lead to exponential growth, not just in money, but in your capacity, your confidence, your ability to spot and create opportunities. Becoming a builder made the whole entrepreneurial path feel natural.
Okay, so this is powerful stuff, but what does it mean for, for you listening right now? You might be thinking, okay, great story, but I'm not 19, or already make decent money, or I'm drowning in debt. How can you actually make this $1 rule work in your life wherever you are right now?
Yeah, it's adaptable, and the application is, maybe surprisingly, straightforward. That's part of its beauty.
Okay, break it down for us.
All right. Step 1, open a separate account. Just for investing or saving, keep it distinct from your everyday spending money. Create that boundary.
Separate pot.
Step 2, every time you get paid or earn any money, really could be a paycheck, side hustle income, whatever, move $1 or more if you can into that separate account before you spend a single cent elsewhere. That before is key. It's pre-commitment.
Pay yourself first. Literally the first dollar.
Exactly. And step 3, make it consistent. A ritual, non-negotiable. Even if it's just once a week when you get paid, that regularity is what reinforces the neural pathways.
Oh, yeah.
And always remember the why. You're training your brain with that core message. I build first. I invest in myself first.
Right.
And hey, some bonus tips. You could use auto-saving apps, like Acorns or Digit or whatever's available where you are. They can automate it, make it frictionless.
That's the willpower out of it?
Kind of, yeah. Or reward yourself for streaks. Like you do it for 30 days straight. Give yourself a small, intentional treat. Reinforce the habit. And maybe track it visually, spreadsheet, habit app, whatever. Seeing the growth, even small, keeps that dopamine flowing from progress.
That makes sense. Track the wins. So it's clear Daniel isn't some, total outlier. This isn't just one guy's lucky story. The core idea behind the $1 rule, this pops up everywhere with successful people, right? Maybe not literally $1, but the same basic mindset.
Oh, absolutely. You see this pattern repeated constantly. Look at Warren Buffett. famous for living in the same relatively modest house he bought back in 1958.
Yeah, legendary.
It's not just thriftiness, he embodies a philosophy. He famously said, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving."
Which is the $1 rule in reverse. Kind of prioritize saving.
Precisely. It's invest before you consume, just phrased differently.
Yeah.
It's a statement of identity. He's an investor first, just like Daniel rewired himself to be.
Okay, who else?
Think about Shaquille O'Neal. He talks about nearly going broke his first year in the NBA despite a huge contract.
Seriously?
Yeah. Then he got smart advice and totally changed his approach. Started saving, I think it was 75% of every paycheck. That's a massive commitment to prioritizing building over spending, a forced rewiring. 75%. Wow.
And then there's the whole latte factor idea from David Bach. Millions of people building wealth simply by consistently investing small amounts they'd normally spend on daily coffee. Little things.
Right. The power of small, consistent amounts.
Exactly. The connecting thread through all these examples, it's the same mental game. Respecting money at every level, prioritizing, building, saving, investing over that immediate urge to consume, it's the compounding of those small, consistent mental votes that leads to the big results.
So it really boils down to that core principle, like Nabal said. How you treat $1 is how you'll treat $1 million. Okay, so here's a challenge for you listening. For the next 7 days, just try it. Every single time money comes into your hands, paycheck, gift, find a fiver on the street, whatever, save the very first dollar.
Just $1.
Just $1. Put it aside. Write it down, track it somehow. Just notice how it feels. See what it tells you about your own default settings, your instincts around money. And as you do that little 7-day challenge, here's maybe a final provocative thought to chew on. Money doesn't change people. It reveals who they already are.
Interesting.
It raises this question about self-awareness, doesn't it? Especially around money. What might this tiny $1 challenge actually reveal about your deeper values, your current habits? Who are you when it comes to putting your financial future first? Something to reflect on.